most of you guys preferred the horizontal one last time, but I can't see your comments whenever you're horizontal, and that's kind of the whole point of doing this is so I can talk to you guys. So until I can figure out how to see your comments while I'm working, I think we'll just do vertical. I hope that's okay with you. Um, I had a few of you on here before, so if anyone's watching this later on, I started my live, it was horizontal. I couldn't see anyone's comments and I couldn't figure out how to turn it on. I just did a quick Google and I didn't find anything. So we're gonna do horizontal or vertical. I'm gonna be setting this stone. It's gonna have, well, this stone, this ring. This is my Madrina ring and it's gonna have a peridot in it. I cracked the gemstone that was supposed to go in this one, so it's kind of been sitting on my bench for about a week now. And I just fast tracked a bunch of more gemstones. Hi, yay, I can finally see your comments. Hello, everybody. But I just got these in the mail, more peridot that aren't cracked. I'm not gonna crack 4 stones or even 1, but just knowing I have spares is really nice. And then after we set this one, I've got 2 Rafe necklaces to set, one in 10 karat gold and one is in 14 karat gold. And they're both gonna have an emerald in it. One is for an order and one is for me. It's my 10-year anniversary today, wedding anniversary. And so I want to make that one for myself to wear tonight. So yeah, let's get started. Let's see. I'm trying to get all of my holiday orders out. I shut my website down for the year, and that way I can get everyone's stuff out for the holidays and focus on pending orders. And that way, like over the holidays, I don't have to look at that number on my Shopify app of like pending orders. And I know people don't mind like waiting after the holidays, like they know that I'm celebrating the holidays too. They don't mind waiting for their orders, but I don't want anyone to wait. So I'm just gonna close for a few weeks and finish up people's orders, and then we'll get back started in the new year. Thank you. How am I doing? Just came back from a jeweler's class. Oh, that's fun. I think it'd be fun to take a class, and I think one of the funnest things would probably be just like meeting people that have the same interests as you. I don't know about you guys, but if you're a jeweler, like I don't know anyone else. I don't think I've ever met anyone else like in real life that likes to do what I like to do. So it'd be fun to take a class and be surrounded by people who are learning and have the same interests. I really, really, really want to take like a professional engraving course. I haven't done any research into it. But I do want to, like, if I need to fly somewhere, I do want to do that this year. I want to take a class on engraving and learn how to do that and get the correct setup and everything. That's definitely a goal this year. Thank you. 10 years flew by so fast. Crazy how quickly time flies. Just trying to find the best fitting one. This one looks pretty good. I love peridot so much. They are really, really sensitive though. That's how I broke the last one. I broke it when I was taking it out of the setting, the wax setting. I was popping out the stone and I used a drill bit, and I think I pushed too hard because I had taken my wax pen and got my stone a little bit hot to like create the perfect seat. And so I think getting that sticky wax like melted onto my stone, it made it harder to push it out, and I cracked the back of the stone. So it was the last one that I had, and I had to wait until I got more in, and thankfully, oh, this one might be a little bit better, like a tighter fit. I might have to remove metal for this one though. Sometimes it's better to go with like a more snug fit than one that just kind of plops right in there. But I don't want to have to take out too much metal. That one really just like sat right in there. I might not do that one. Yeah, I think engraving would be tough, but that's why I feel like that's one area where I would really benefit like learning from someone and someone like going somewhere where they have like professional grade tools. Some things are harder to learn because you don't have the correct tools, you know? Like I have my line punch forge, but I don't think that that is like a I don't think that it could handle like the amount of engraving or the types of engraving that I'd want to do. Oh no, I think they sent me a cracked stone. Yeah, they did. Dang it. This one, I mean, you saw me pull it out of the bag. It has a crack on it. Dang it. Okay, that's okay. Maybe the mailman threw it around. I don't know. Do you think there's a difference in quality of wax? I've been using a Paifu brand or Faihu, and feel like there's maybe not as flexible as ferrous. My claws always break trying to take the stone out. I've never tried any other type of wax except for the Ferris wax. So, I mean, I do think that there are differences in quality. There's a reason why people use Ferris or wolf wax, like wolf carving wax. I've heard that that's a good one. I think it's okay to try other brands and experiment, especially if they're cheaper. But I think just like everything, like there are going to be good qualities and bad qualities. Um, I've never tried anything other than Ferris because Ferris has just been so good, and the blue Ferris is like the perfect um, like flexibility. So I don't know if anyone has ever used that brand. Let me know if you've had trouble with it, but I've never used anything other than Ferris. Is there a laser engraver that you recommend in specific? Is there any you got your mind in future? Okay, so I don't have a laser engraver. I have like a welder from Pepe Tools, and it's been great for the stuff that I need. There are projects where could I could imagine that it'd be better to have a laser engraver, but I've never done any research into them, so I can't really recommend a certain one. But maybe someone in here can, if anyone has a laser engraver or recommends a certain one. I've just started to work. Can you give any tips, please? Like just started all together. If you've just started all together, just don't give up. I remember when I was first starting, you know, like one of the first things that you learn when you first start is soldering. And it's funny now that I'm experienced and I've done this for so long. Soldering is like second nature. I don't even think about it. But when I first started, soldering almost made me quit. Like I was so frustrated soldering and I couldn't get the solder to flow in the right areas and it made me want to quit because I just couldn't figure it out. So don't quit because if I would have stopped at freaking soldering, like Jesus. I think she's talking my hand, no laser. Oh, I mean, she said laser engraver. um, laser. Oh, laser engraver, like X tool, like that type of stuff. I don't use any of those either. I would like to have like an actual laser engraver. I've looked at the X tool. I've been approached by X tool for them to like give me an engraver. Um, but I don't want to use an engraver that just engraves the surface of the metal, like a dog tag, you know, like where it just gets that top layer because the metal will wear down and that type of engraving isn't going to last that long. So I know that the type of engraving that I would want from a laser engraver, I would need to go higher quality than X Tool. So I'm only really familiar with them just because I did some research into them when they reached out to me. And I decided not to go down that route. So other than that, though, I don't really know any of those like laser engravers. Um, and if you are talking about like hand engravers, the only hand engravers or other engravers that I've been using are like hand engravers, like onglet and square gravers, and then my Lion Punch Forge, which attaches to the Fordham hammer hand piece. And that is a really helpful tool, but not anything near like a GRS type of like air pneumatic engraver. Recommend 3D resin printings. Um, I've never done anything with resin. I think it's really cool. I think that's like an art all on its own, knowing how to create things in CAD or whatever 3D design and printing them. And I think it's a really good way to scale your business too. Like you don't have to inject like wax inject anything or carve anything. You just hit print. I mean, I think that's cool. Um, X Tool F1 Ultra Laser Engraver is good. Same with regular F1, especially for hallmarking. I didn't think about that for hallmarking. Does it get like deep though? Is it like a deep enough of an engraving where it wouldn't rub off with, because you know silver is really soft, and so are like higher carats of gold. So my worry was that someone would wear their ring a normal amount of time and then it would wear down. But CAD designer about 3 years now and started casting. Very cool. Yeah, that's like that takes some really heavy skills. Thank you, Ahmed. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this stone. The thing with setting stones that aren't like super tight in your setting, you gotta make sure that you gotta be really careful about setting your stone crooked. I'm a major in bio in uni, but I love art and wanted to try something different, so I joined a jewelry making class. And I just finished and I love it. I'm still struggling with the flow of solder though. Oh, well that's cool. I'm glad you decided to like pursue something creative on the side because yeah, it's always nice to like work with your hands and make something from scratch. But if there's any tip, like the best tip I think that I got with soldering just through like research and stuff was just to remember that solder follows your flame. So wherever you're pointing your flame, that's where it's gonna go. So just maybe keep that in the back of your mind. Solder will follow your flame. If you have fiber laser, it goes deep. CO2 lasers using engraving ink that burn on is not good. They wear away. Gotcha. Thank you for that explanation. F1 Ultra gets way deeper, making regular F1 work fine for me. Sterling 540K. Okay, maybe I'll have to just do more research into it. What's my favorite tools in my toolkit? This is definitely one of them, the hammer hand piece with the Fordham to help me set stones. It's a lot cheaper than the GRS pneumatic grate or like pneumatic systems. Yeah, and I can do so much with it. Like I can use the line punch forge with it. I can use my hammer hand piece with it. I mean, I can use it for sanding and polishing. I think it's a really, really good like versatile tool. Hey, Darlene. I do wish X-Tool F1 laser engraved just a little bit deeper. You can do several passes. Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do multiple passes over it. I am setting this peridot ring. I don't know if you can see this golden peridot ring. Do you have any complete pieces nearby I can see? Yeah, why yes I do. So this is a new one that I finished last week. I don't know if you can see, but this is gold and moissanite. There are 5 moissanite in there. It's just a dainty band. I've been wearing it as a pinky ring, but today I was wearing it as a knuckle ring. And then this one is sapphire and moissanite. Kind of like an art piece. Very like wavy and textured. And then this one is a pink tourmaline. And then this is my grandma's ring, but have I ever worked with jade? Well, gosh, okay. I have worked with jade, but it was a really, really long time ago. It was like in the very beginning when I was first starting to learn, and I had like a flat cabochon, like pear-shaped jade. And so I did have a ring like that on my website for a little while, but I took it off just because it's not really my style anymore. But thank you. Thank you. I've never made anything this dainty before ever, and I love it so much. Like the stones are so tiny. It's been a really good pinky ring. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna secure the stone and then I'll bring you guys in a little bit closer. Noticing like a little dot, like a black dot in this stone. I hope they didn't send me a bunch of duds. Just on the outside. I've always had really good like stuff back from these folks. And I'm looking at some of these up close. And one of them's broken. One had a little black dot on the inside, which is strange. That's good. It's very hard to be CAD designer, but after experiences, be very cool. Build hard. Yeah, there's lots of like, you can get lots of really intricate things, like designs in your pieces with CAD. Enjoyed your tips on filing claws in previous videos for not scratching the stones. Oh, good. I'm glad that helped. Did you ever have any issues polishing the jade? Currently trying to make a pendant with jade, and the polishing is proving difficult. I never had to polish the jade. The stone came really nice and shiny and finished looking. I never had to touch it. I don't do any sort of like, what's the term for folks that work with stones? Starts with an L. What's it called? Lapidary work. I don't do any lapidary work. Thank you for that tip. How would you say you found your specific style? Was it just an inspiration in designing after you learned certain skills? So it took me a long time to find like my particular style. I would say like when you do, you'll know that you found it. I just knew because for like a good 2.5 or 3 years, I liked what I was making, but I didn't love it. Like I would finish a piece and I would say like, oh, this turned out really pretty, but I wouldn't like be in love with it. And then I started working in wax and playing with wax. And when I saw how those pieces came out, that's when I started like becoming like more obsessed with my own work and falling in love with my own work and being excited to put them on. And I think that's where I figured out like, okay, this is more me. I get more excited about this. And then I just kept following that and I kept trying to create more of that. And yeah, it takes a while, especially when you're trying to just build your skill at first. Like everyone would like to learn a new skill and like have your own specific style like all at the same time. But I don't think it really happens like that. I think you have to become like good at the technical skills, but be like, patient with yourself enough to like allow yourself to get to the point where you really love what you're making. So I hope that makes sense. But pretty much just keep playing, keep trying different mediums. Try CAD, try wax carving, try like fabricating, like try all the different techniques and stuff, and then you'll start to slowly figure out what you enjoy the most. This is the hammer handpiece from Fordham. It's attached to the SR Fordham pendant motor, and it has like a reciprocating thing, and it hammers the metal to push it over my stone. Do I prefer the round cut out at your bench? Just bought all my tools and I'm about to build this work desk, but I don't know if I need an art cutout. I like it because it allows me to get closer to my work. It allows me to scoot in closer because this is contoured to your body. So if you have the ability to cut it out, I definitely recommend that you do. It'll also help like when you drop stuff, that it doesn't end up falling on the floor, because if you include some kind of catch tray or one of those like leather like apron type things. It kind of allows you to block things from falling on the floor. I was bezel setting an emerald yesterday, slipped and chipped the stone. No, so I recut and polished it. Oh, that's good. Oh, good. It's good to have that ability to do that. That's scary setting emeralds because they are so soft. I try to put my finger over my stone whenever I set it until I feel like confident. But I too have slipped before and hit my stone with this. So yeah, I now try and keep my finger all the way around until I'm pretty much almost done, and then I'll go through and like hit the spots where I can't reach because my finger is in the way. So good. Thank you. Pneumatic hammer. Yeah, it's a pneumatic, or it's a hammer handpiece from Fordham. Sorry, my eyes get fatigued sometimes when I'm focusing really, really hard or like trying to look really closely. That's another goal of mine or want of mine this year is to have um, a microscope, because after a while, I don't know if it's gonna be like cause long term damage on your eyes, but sometimes like focusing really hard and trying to see as close as you possibly can, like your eyes get really tired. But the coffee helps. Found your channel this week. Very much enjoying catching up on past videos. Thank you so much. And you like my plants. I love my plants so much. I wish I could show them all. My gloriosum is getting a new leaf. I don't know if you can see right there. I love my plants so much. I have so much fun growing them. I've never ever been able to grow plants, like to keep them alive. But I've always wanted to be able to keep them alive. Like that one was, I got this one in, I think, January of this past year, and it was half of the size, and I think it had some kind of like disease at Walmart. They were selling it for really cheap. Um, but whenever we moved here, you said you're new to the channel, but so you probably know if you've been watching old videos that we were in England and then we moved here last year. And my husband was in the military, and so we were constantly moving and we lived overseas. And so I never wanted to buy plants because I knew we would have to move back to the States, and plants can't survive like a 4 month trip on a boat, you know? So when we got here, I went kind of nuts and I bought a bunch of plants, and I have some of my favorites, but yeah, I kind of went through like a stint of buying plants. And I've slowed down a lot recently, but when we first got into this house and I could finally like make the space my own and stuff, I went a little crazy with the plant purchasing. But that one's new too. Do you see? Wait, this one. It looks like a mermaid tail. It's a cactus. I think it's technically a succulent. Oh, okay, wait. I'll show you one more because it's little and it's cute. But I got this one. It looks like a gingerbread man, or like someone flexing, I guess, too. But he's so cute. Anyway, thanks for saying you like my plants. I went down a rabbit hole there. I think plants are fun and they reward you, and it's nice to see them grow. I feel like very happy and healthy. Thank you. Yeah, the one that was all squished, it's over there. Okay, wait, that's the last one I'll show you because I know you aren't here to see the plants, but let me see. This is the one that you saw that was all floppy, and look at how tall she's getting. This is an Alocasia Jacqueline, but she looks really good and healthy. But yeah. I do love my plants. You see, where am I from? I'm from Southeast Texas. But I live in Idaho now. We just wanted to be someplace where there were all 4 seasons and mountains, and just to be in a new place. And I like it. It's not forever home for sure, but I do like it. I'm from Mexico. Wanted to become a jeweler too. How can I start? Oh, that's exciting. Because there's no school for jewelers. Oh no. Where are you from in Mexico? My dad is from Zacatecas. But I didn't have a jewelry school around me when I first started. And so you can definitely teach yourself. Like, don't let that stop you from learning. If you're just wanting to get started and you don't know where to begin, buy all of your basic tools. I have a video about basic tools. I have a list of basic tools on my Amazon storefront, and I think it caters to every country. So if there are certain things that aren't available in, like the things I recommend in your country, I think Amazon will automatically suggest something similar. So if you want to go over there to get some ideas, I have a whole list of all the basics. So I would say go get the basics. Like, and when I say basics, like I was thinking, okay, what is the bare minimum of what you need? So go get the basics and then just start learning how to solder. Just solder one ring together, a silver ring. I would say get like 12 gauge wire and just start practicing soldering rings. Once you can solder a ring together, then maybe make a pair of hoops and solder an ear post onto a hoop. And so once you get down the soldering thing, then buy some bezel wire and get some cabochon stones, because these are really affordable. Like you don't have to use turquoise. You could use like any cabochon stone. It doesn't even have to be a real stone. You're just trying to learn the technique. And start creating like cabochon settings. There are lots of good videos online on how to create bezel settings. Start learning how to bezel set, and then once you learn how to create the bezel cup, then you can attach it to your ring that you made, and you just go on from there, just one thing at a time. So I really recommend just starting with soldering and making a ring, making a bezel cup, and then moving on into whatever direction that you're wanting to move on, whether that's claw settings or like flush settings. Just look up all the different settings and pick one. Okay, I want to learn that one next, and then just go down that rabbit hole. Hello from North Carolina. Oh, North Carolina. My husband's from North Carolina, and I love North Carolina. What part are you from? Thank you for liking my plants. I recently got engaged, so it's funny that my YouTube threw a stone setter in my face. Congratulations on getting engaged. That's so exciting. Yeah, I see the flexing. Yeah. Yeah, the flexing cactus is really cute. I love it. Bad with plants, I've killed cactuses before. I know. Okay, I used to kill everything, but I think it's because I was just watering too frequently. Just water everything once a month, or not once a month. Sorry, Jesus, that's bad advice. Once a week, and just do like the finger in the soil test. If you stick your finger in the soil and it's still wet, don't water it. If it's dry as a bone, water it and leave it alone. Don't do anything to it. Hey there, what RPM? What RPM do you have your motor at when using a hammer attachment? I have a Fordham. Can't seem to get the pedal gently enough to get a low RPM. Unfortunately, this isn't like a digital flex shaft like this one is, like my micro motor. This one will show me how many RPMs I'm using, but the other one won't. And so I don't know how many RPMs I'm using. I start off as soft as I can with my foot pedal, and then sometimes I need to pick it up if I come across a hard spot. So I don't know what RPM I'm using. I'm sorry. How to keep your hair so hydrated, looks so healthy. Thank you. And gosh, moving to like a dry climate, my skin has been so dry. And they have really hard water here too. But I try not to like blow dry it all the time. I used to blow dry it a lot, but now I try and let it air dry and then I fix it. But I think that's probably what helps, like less heat. I can think of this handpiece. Yeah, pneumatic systems are really pricey, and it would be really nice to have one, but I used to work very close to Hatton Garden in London. Oh, would pop into Cooks on Gold. Oh, that's really nice to have access to the village sometimes and pick up tools and supplies for the girlfriends. I know the jewelry vendors. Oh, nice. Very cool. I used to get all my stuff from them whenever we were living over there, so that would have been really nice to be able to just walk right in. Okay, Wilmington. Very nice. Beach town. That's a nice town. Hello from India. Have a good night. Okay, I just wanted to get this secured before I brought you guys in closer on here. Hi from Maryland. I've been using a Rever pneumatic graver. It's been great and under 300. Ooh, I'll have to look into that and see. I I want to start practicing engraving. I just don't feel like I have the tools for it, and I'm so torn. I'm gonna be purchasing my next big tool soon, and I'm torn between getting like a one thing I've learned, and it's just like, I think since being an adult, like being a grown up now, I'm almost 30. I'm gonna be 30 in May. One thing I've learned as I've gotten older is like, if you're able to, and it might hurt and you might cry a little bit, but if you're able to just spend the money, 9 times out of 10, it's worth it to just get the like expensive thing. That's not always true. Like you can go cheap sometimes, but I know like through life now that buy once, cry once is 9 times out of 10 true. And if you just invest in the right tool and something that will like give you more like diverse use out of it, um, that you will have a lot less headache and heartache in the future. So I'm all for the budget tools, especially since I have this channel. I like being able to share like budget options just so that, like, one thing I never want people to feel like is that they can't get into this because they don't have the money for like the nice tool or like, the expensive tool, because that's so not true. Like you could go budget all the way and be totally fine. But just for like long-term investment purposes, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm long-term investment. I never want to buy one of these ever again. Let me just get the GRS pneumatic system where I could have like a hammer hand piece and an engraver attachment. And I have like a professional setup where I could hand engrave to the best of my ability and never purchase one of those things ever again. So I feel like I'm at that point, but I would be willing to get the Vever one just to see how it goes, and for you guys, so that I can share it with you if you are looking for a budget option. So thank you for telling me about that. I'll have to look into it and maybe get it to try it out for you guys. Thank you, Snow Cane. I wish I knew your name because I'm assuming it's not Snow Cane. But I'm really happy I can help you. Do you have to get an assay office mark on your jewelry like in the UK? So no. So in the UK, you have to, like, they hallmark it at the assay. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. At that certain office in order to sell your jewelry, but in the US, you don't have to. There's no like legal thing telling you they have to hallmark your jewelry, but if you hallmark your jewelry, then you're supposed to put a maker's mark next to it. Not every jeweler does though, especially if you're working with super like fine detailing and you don't have a maker's mark that's small enough. Like no one's gonna come after you for it. But the technical rule is you are allowed to hallmark your own jewelry, but if you hallmark your own jewelry, you need to put your maker's mark next to it or something indicating that you put that mark on it. But no, the rules here are not anywhere near as strict as the UK. What attachment did you say you attached to the hammer hand piece? Is that the line forge one? So this is just the hammer hand piece, but you can attach, yes, the line punch forge, which is this little tip. If you unscrew this, you can put this little tip on there and attach your engraver, and it will help you push your engraver to raise grains or just cut through metal. And it works really well if you're like just starting to learn. I use it every single time when it comes to bead setting or like star settings. And whenever I was doing that by hand, I would crack so many stones because I was pushing so hard. But that Lion Punch Forge really, really, really does help a ton. I don't have to push hardly at all. It does all the work for me. It's not anywhere near the level of like a GRS one, but it definitely will do the trick if you're wanting to like grain set or bead set or whatever you want to call it, or star set. But yeah. I'm gonna be 31 in May. May, yeah, in our 30s, woo! I'm excited. I'm excited to be in my 30s. Nervous about trying something inexpensive, but so far so good. Good. I'm very glad. There are tools that you can get that are not expensive that work really well. Next month, I'm taking a stone setting course at New Approach. They have GRS tools, so I can't wait to. Oh, that's awesome. I want there are no courses near me that I can go to. because I really want to take an engraving one. I also would like to take a stone setting course. It's like at a higher level, like pave and all these really intricate styles, but there's no one's near me. So I don't know, I'd have to do some more research, but that's very exciting. I think just starting out, people should use budget tools. Yeah, for sure. I wood burn and whatnot, and budget tools work just fine, especially if you're starting out. I use professional wood burner, and they still use my first one as an option. Yep. When you're first starting, you definitely should use budget tools. I use budget tools probably for the first like 2 years. And then once I knew, okay, this is working out, I'm sticking with it. I love it. I don't see myself ever like straying from this profession. And then I was able to buy new tools whenever it came time for me to need new tools. I did it because I didn't want to have to buy new ones later on. But in the beginning, yes, go budget all the way. That way you can get your like wide array of tools and you don't blow all your money on just one and then, you know. It's good you can mark your own. It was always an extra charge. Yeah. I would use my caster when I was in the UK was Morel Casting, and they had an essay office or essay. Please freaking tell me if I'm not making a fool of myself. They had one of those offices, like right next door, so they could hallmark it for me really quickly. So if anyone's in the UK and you're needing a caster, Morel Casting is really great. And I use the one out of Birmingham, and yeah, they will take it to the essay office for you. Are the hallmarks for specific metals? I'm just learning and collecting supplies to start, so I'm trying to learn as much as possible. Yeah, so the hallmarks are, 925, 14 karat, 10 karat, whatever metal that you're using, and you just stamp it. And you can have a maker's mark made. They have them on Etsy. You can get all those hallmark stamps, by the way, on Rio Grande or on Etsy. You can have your own hallmark stamp made on Etsy. You can also use lettering stamps if you don't want to spend the money to have a custom stamp made. You can use lettering stamps from like Amazon to letter your initials or whatever you want it to be. But yeah, it's just that simple. You just stamp it yourself. Tip for people working in wax. I don't know why I haven't been doing this more often. It's something new I started doing, but I started stamping my stuff when it's in wax. That way, after it's cast, I don't have to go and like, because sometimes you don't hammer things perfectly and it slips and your hallmark is all effed up and you have to sand it down and redo it. So just stamp your stuff when it's in wax if you're wax carving. And I found that to be like, oh, so nice. I've considered building a pneumatic engraver. There's a few YouTube videos. I've got a small machine shop. Oh, that's really cool. If you can do that, that's awesome. So they hallmark the casting before you clean them up. Yeah, like if it was only gold though. They didn't hallmark silver, but I would just send it to them and ask them to cast it in the metal, and I usually did 9 karat gold with them, and then I would ask them to have it hallmarked, and they would take it down there and hallmark it, and then I would just pay with them over the phone. So yeah, they don't have to like send it back to you and then you send it to be hallmarked. They'll do it all in one fell swoop. Morel Casting. And Matt, they have one, and they have a Morel Casting in London as well. It's not just in Birmingham, so you could even bring your stuff to be cast if you didn't want to mail it. Seen the marks on jewelry that I didn't realize they were called hallmarks. Yep, they're just called hallmark. There's the hallmark, and then there's a maker's mark. Hallmark is the metal purity. Maker's mark is, like for me, MM is what I usually do. But yeah, it is really good. It saves you tons of time. I don't remember like what they charge for it, but I don't think it was much. Here, I'll try and bring you guys a little bit closer. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I just wanted to still be able to see y'all's questions. Let me not give you a boob shot. I'm not trying to have that kind of live, you know? So if you can tell, I did all 4 corners. So when you're setting your stone, you want to do north, south, east, west. I don't know if that was flipped for you guys. As long as you're doing opposite sides first. So opposite sides, and then you can go in and fill in these little corners, but that will make sure that your stone is set nice and flat and even. So if you're setting stones, just make sure you're doing that. If you're setting stones with corners, then you want to do corner, 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 corner. I'm looking in the camera and my fingers did not go where I thought they were going. But you get the gist. Just make sure you're not going like all the way around. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a crooked stone. Hi, Ukrainian in Portugal. Oh, I'm glad I can help. Very, very glad I can help. I love having my YouTube channel. Obviously, I like helping you guys, especially because I felt like I needed so much help whenever I was first starting, and I didn't have, like, there wasn't a ton of like super detailed, like there was info, but there were gaps, you know? And so I really like being able to try and fill in some of those gaps, but I really have learned a lot from just having the channel, like just meeting you guys and meeting other people that share their information. Like I learned just as much from everyone on here than that I've like taught other people. And yeah, I'm very grateful for YouTube. It's my favorite platform by far, and I don't know, it's like one of the most unselfish places on the internet. Like I don't know. Like I put out stuff, but people give it right back, you know? Like support and advice and entertainment, like being here on lives with you guys. Like I've said it before, but you know, I love working for myself and I love doing this work and stuff, and I'm so incredibly grateful. I can't even explain how happy it makes me to do this, but it can be kind of lonely, like working by myself. I've always been like a high energy, like social person, and so working alone, it can be kind of rough sometimes. Not rough, but like it can just be kind of lonely, and like you just miss talking to people. So it's nice to have a community online of people to talk to that are interested and interesting. Yeah, I'm very grateful. I like this, my Encore vise, but sometimes this blocks, like this hand thing. Sometimes it's nice to rest my hand on, but it can block me as well. I like to kind of go in from the side at first, and then once I get that kind of flattened out, I'll try and like, if you've used one of these before, you know that when you're pushing the metal, you'll see it start to kind of raise, like it's starting to flatten out. It gets raised a little bit. And then so once I push it and it starts to raise, then I tilt this up, and that's what pushes it kind of down over the stone. Peridot does look like a little gumdrop, yeah. Do you do craft / art markets, or do you sell exclusively online? I sell polymer clay jewelry on Etsy, but Etsy has been a pain lately. They're always a pain. Working on a new website, but I'm wondering if a craft show can help. Okay, so I did craft shows. Well, first off, I'm sorry that Etsy's being a pain in the ass. They were that to me as well. I did craft shows or like markets whenever I was in the UK, but that was whenever I was first starting and my jewelry was a lot cheaper. So if you're in like, I would recommend if you're under $100, then I think crafts, like craft fairs or markets, are really, really good. Like, even if you're under $50, you can do really well at markets. People like to go around markets to walk around and look, and they're more likely to buy a stacking ring like this than they are to drop $700 on a gold ring, you know? So if you're in that, like, I would say, 15 to $100 range, like in that kind of mid range, then I think that markets can be really great. I found that once I started making higher priced jewelry, that I priced myself out of markets because no one was going to a market to drop a bunch of money. They were going to buy like small gifts or make an impulsive purchase. Um, so if your jewelry is nice and mid priced or low priced, then I think you could do really great at a market. I think it's a good way to get feedback from people, like real time feedback. And they're just fun, they are really fun. So I would say try it out and just see how you like it. I see, silver and gold, as it goes badly, you can always remelt it. Yeah, you can always remelt your jewelry, yeah. That's true. Yeah, like with this ring, I don't have it with me right now, but if y'all know, like this Madrina ring, it comes with two other rings separate. So when you put them together, they kind of fit like a glove. And I offer it on my website as just the middle ring only or with the two sides. And I guess I didn't read it well. And the person only ordered the middle band, but I made and cast the whole set. And so at first I was like, oh shit, I just wasted all that gold. And then I realized I didn't. I can just melt it down and reuse it. So it was just more of a time inconvenience. Just dropped in here. What machine are you using? Hi, Taya. I'm using a Fordham hammer handpiece that attaches to the Fordham SR pendant motor. And it does like that to hit the metal to push it over my stone. all of your pieces made to order, or do you have a stock of some designs? Curious how jewelers keep up with unpredictable amounts of orders and getting them out on time. Oh goodness, I couldn't afford to keep a stock, honestly. That's why I made molds. I made silicone molds of all of my work. That way, if I were to get like a surplus of orders, um, then I can just inject my mold and like if I got 10 orders for this ring, I just inject that mold 10 times and then I can cast it, and it speeds up the making process a lot faster. So I don't make any of my rings and keep them in stock. I just make molds and I make them all as I get orders. So that's how I choose to do it, just to be the most like economical, and I don't want to waste materials either, waste gemstones. Like if I go and make 10 of these rings, I mean, what size would I make them in? What stone would I choose? All of those things. So if that's something that's kind of like you're racking your brain on, I really suggest making molds, master copies of all of your work, and then either buying a wax injector or if you are casting your work, having it cast, have your caster keep that mold. Most casters will make a mold of your work. You have to pay for it, and then they hold it, and then you have injection fees. But you can have your casters, if they offer the service, make a mold for you, inject it, and cast that many of your stuff. Just started using a hot air SMD workstation for polymer clay. I had no clue what that was. Character sculptures. Oh, that's cute. It's a very precise fine nozzle heat gun. I was wondering if that could be used in your wax carving to smooth. I'm sure it could be. I run a lighter across my work to smooth out my stuff, so I don't see why that'd be any different. Just started working with silver metal clay and learning that whole process, which is how I found your channel. Oh, cool. So I'm taking a bezel and ring making course near me in April for some hands-on help. Nice, that's exciting. It's always nice to take a class because it's going to expedite your learning just that much more. So that's really fun. I've never worked with silver clay before, but it looks like fun. Do you keep a mold for each size ring, or are you able to change the size once it's wax before you cast? Yes. So I make one mold and I don't really focus on what size it is. If I can help it, I try and make it my most common ring size, which is like a 6 or a 7. And then I inject it, and then if I need to resize it, I just cut the band, put it on my mandrel, and add more wax or take away wax, and just resize it just like you would a normal ring when it's in metal. I do the same thing when it's in wax. So just one mold is all you need. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the stone finally stopped rattling, so I know it's in there nice and secure now. But I don't know if y'all can see that much detail. See, it's a lot of fun, but very interesting learning curve since it's my main medium. Oh, resin. Hi, hope you're doing well. Hey, Dylan. I'm doing a gold push button box lock. Box lock. Might have to set a stone. Oh, nice. You'll have to send me a picture of what that ends up looking like. Dylan makes super, super, super beautiful stuff. Makes sense, thanks. Wish keeping molds was an option for me looking into sand casting. Let's see. It seems to be more meditative than a hammer setting. Way less stress. Yeah, it is a lot less stressful than setting with a hammer and a punch. I think you just have a lot more control over where, you know, I can like brace myself with both hands. The few pieces of jewelry I do make are hand cast English pewter. So I make sculpts, the mold in high temp silicone rubber. Oh, very cool. Hand cast English pewter. I'll have to look that up. Pewter does not flow as nicely as silver. Oh, I don't know what pewter. I'll have to Google what pewter is. I go in with a flat graver and just kind of clean up the inside a little bit. I took my flat graver off. This is something I was really happy that I got, was the GRS like chuck style handle. So I can change out my gravers quickly instead of setting them on wooden handles. I've set a few on wooden handles before, and if you've done it, you know it's smelly, it's messy, and it's super inconvenient. So this is one of those things that was like a little bit pricey, but it was really just a convenience purchase, you know? Gotta be really careful not to scratch your stone when doing this. Pewter is an alloy of lead and tin, very traditional material in the UK for brooches, etc. Been used for hundreds. Oh, thank you for letting me know about that. Lots of Celtic jewelries and pewter. Oh, nice. That's cool. I've never come across anything in pewter, not that I know of, at least. So I know some people have asked about like how to smoothen out the metal because you can see some of the hammer marks. And so for that, you just use some diamond burrs. You can get like a whole set of these on Amazon or Rio Grande or whatever, but they come in like all different shapes, and it just helps kind of sand out like those bumpy spots. And I use this too to like recreate that texture if I like smoothen it out too much somewhere. Are there specific stones you like to work with better than others? I'm wondering if any stones like opals are too soft for the pneumatic tools. So it's not too soft for the pneumatic tools, and actually opals are one of my favorite to work with. Like this Australian pipe opal is my favorite. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I can't wait to. But look at how beautiful it flashes. But I would use my pneumatic graver around this. You just have to be really, 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 really careful and try and thin out your bezel setting as much as you can. If I have to be honest, I like to try and use claw settings with my opals instead of like a bezel setting. That way I don't have to use my pneumatic graver. And instead of hammering all the way around your stone, you're just pushing on 3 different points. So if you can get away with just doing a claw setting, then that's always easiest with opals. But I mean, look at that. Other than that, I really like pink tourmaline a lot. It's one of my favorite gemstones as well. And this one, I mean, gosh, this one sparkles so much. It's just cut so beautifully. But yeah, those are probably my 2 favorites. Yeah, the opals are very, very magical. Yeah, very pretty. Especially those pipe opals. I don't know, I can't believe that the earth can produce something so like intricate and beautiful and flashy and very cool. So I will sand and polish this one later. I just wanted to get some of those deep scratches out. What tool is this? So this is just my micro motor, and I just use one of my radial discs. This is the heaviest grit one, just to get some of the deep scratches out. But I'll have to go through and polish and sand this later. I haven't done any sanding since casting, so that's why it's at that matte color. But I love this ring so much. People never really get it on its own. They usually get the whole set, but I love this ring. And peridot is just a beautiful color, and with gold, I mean, oh geez, this ring is turning my finger black. Let's see. Yeah, I do have an opening at the bottom to let some light in. Holy moly, you're zoomed in on my face. I'm sorry. Let's see. Ooh, that thing can give me a headache. Squeezes my forehead super hard. It gives me prints. Yeah, thank you. I love getting to do this. Especially when people get them as like engagement rings or, you know, anniversary presents. Is it a very like fun, creative, but like special line of work, because a lot of the times, especially with the more expensive pieces, they're for like a sentimental purpose. Sorry, I really squeezed my forehead with that. Okay, on to the next one. Do you guys want to stay for this one? I'm gonna be setting the Wraith necklace. Ooh, let my forehead breathe. Garden is growing very nice. Thanks, Dylan. It is. Everything's getting a lot bigger, and I do wonder sometimes, like, what do I do when things start hitting the ceiling? Because I don't want to cut anything. I don't want to chop my monstera or my fiddle leaf fig. Tom made this for me. I don't know if y'all have seen this. You might have seen this. But it's pretty much like a knockoff to the GRS tray. Like, GRS makes one of these. But I didn't want to spend the $90 on it. And so Tom bent it up and welded it for me. And now I can use my ball vise lower, because before I would have to like raise my seat up really high. Sometimes I would stand up and hover like over my ball vise. Whenever I'm using my Thermolock, I always use my, oh man, I still have a necklace in this. I think I have another piece of Thermolock I can use. Yeah. So Thermolock, if y'all haven't used it before, it's really nice. I only recently started using it, probably in like the last like maybe 6 months. But pretty much it's like a plastic material that you can heat it up and it turns into like a putty. And then you squish your jewelry piece in it, and when it dries, it's rock hard, like just as hard as this is. I had to use scissors to cut it, and it holds your piece really well. So before, I used to just put this on my bench peg, and then I would try and hold it so tiny and set the stone with it. But now it gets really nice and snug in my Thermolock. And then whenever I want to take it out, which I remember the first time I used it, when I was like, okay, now what? Like, how do I get it out? And I learned some things with it, but anyway, I get it out with a hair dryer. So I just heat it up with a hair dryer, and then it starts to soften, and you can pick your piece out. But I love the way I love you wear your own work while working. It's good. Oh, thank you that I wear my own jewelry. I love what you doing. Thank you. I love seeing my stuff. It's fun, and it's fun jewelry. I like wearing like colorful, fun stuff. I bought the Pepe Tool ball vise. I hope it's as good as GRS. I chose Pepe over GRS. I mean, I've never used GRS, so I couldn't tell you if it is better than GRS because I don't have any other experience other than this one, but it works well, and I can roll it around, and it's like a fraction of the price. So yeah, I'm not gonna think of GRS with this one. I'm just gonna keep going with my ball vise. But it's always good if you can make your own tools. Yeah, very good if you can make your own tools. Like, for example, if you're wanting a ball vise but you don't have the budget for a ball vise, then you could just get a benchtop vise, and it, in theory, could be used very similarly. So I could put my Thermolock in here and just raise my seat up, and I could set my stone in this vise, and it spins, which isn't much different than my ball vise, only my ball vise I can like roll it around. But if you're on a budget, then this would be a good option. I got this from Harbor Freight for like $15. So yeah, there are tons of options to make your own tools or to like come up with creative ways to do anything. Like I made this yesterday. I needed something to hold my wax burrs. So I just glued some wood together and drilled some holes, and now I've got a holder for my wax burrs. So yeah, definitely I think one of the biggest things of jewelry making is creating your own tools. Like you end up creating your own pushers and coming up with stuff like that. Like I've seen people use their vices to set stones, and like making your own, if you have the ability to make your own stuff, you can. Yesterday I created my own little benchtop lathe. I was sanding a bunch of jewelry like all at once, and it cramps your hand holding this for a very, very long time, and I had a bunch of jewelry to sand. So I put this in my vise and I was like, I did it, and then I was like, why have I not been doing this more recently? Like I did not come up with this. People have been doing this, but I never once thought about it. And then I just tightened it gently, and now I have my own little lathe. So this is like, you can get them on Amazon too for like $15. They're super cheap, but it's come in handy so often. I even use it to cut molds. So this came with some other tool. You can use a fork if you want, and you can lock it in here, and you can use it to help like open up your mold, to hold it open while you cut it in half. So yeah, you can be creative with your tools. I need to get a heat gun so that I can heat up my Thermolock without having to go put it in the microwave, because that's what I'm about to go do, is put this in the microwave. Thermolock is used the way engravers use pitch. I don't know what pitch is, but I'm assuming you know what you're talking about, so yes. Can you reuse the Thermolock, or does it break down after reheating a bunch? I've been reusing the same piece of Thermolock for since I've had it, so about 5 or 6 months, and I've never noticed a difference in the quality or anything. So, and I know it's expensive when you look it up on Rio Grande's website. I think it's like $50 or $60, but I've been using the same piece for 6 months. It's this right here, and they send you a huge bag of it, and which I didn't know how much they were gonna send me, but they send you like 30 or 40 sticks of it, and you only really need to use like half every time. So yeah, it's definitely worth the cost. If you don't have that initially to come up with that cost, I've heard of people using polyplastics from Amazon. It's like this white plastic beads that melt down in the same way. And I think that's like $10 or maybe even less. So look up polyplastics too. Hello from California. Have you considered a cheap digital microscope? I use one for building electronic circuits, and mine was like 30 pounds, but oh dang, that's cool. No, I've never looked into any other type of microscopes other than like the ones that you see being used. They're really expensive, so I'll have to look into that. Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate that. Thank you. How do you soften for setting your piece? Water? So some people will soften this with boiling water, but I like to just put it in the microwave because it's a lot faster than boiling water. So I just put it in the microwave for like 10 or 15 seconds, and then I run back downstairs, and then I put it around my piece. Speaking of Harbor Freight, they have a decent and expensive heat gun. Thank you. I'll have to go get one of those. My husband is like a yearly member. He loves Harbor Freight, so I'll have to go with him next time and get a heat gun. Yeah, you can use I use a hairdryer to get my piece out afterward, but I use a microwave just to heat it up enough to melt. I'm actually gonna cut this in half again. Hello from Wimbledon. What time is it in England? I think you're like 6 hours ahead or 8 hours ahead of me. So is it midnight? Boiling water. Oh, jet set ballistic. I'll have to look up that too. Let's go on a field trip. Let's go microwave this stuff. Maybe I could just get a microwave in my basement. 10:15. So you're 6 hours ahead. Almost. Hi, puppy. I don't know if you guys remember Finn. I think I put him in a video when we first got him. But we got him from the animal shelter, and he was super, super, super skinny and super sick. And he needs hip surgery, but he's okay for right now. But he's gained 15 pounds since we got him from the shelter. He's a sweet boy. Thank you. Yeah, he's feeling so much better. He is like 100% now, which is so crazy because when we first got him, he was so happy and so playful. You would have never known like how sick he was. He was just such a happy dog. But he was just so skinny. Like you could see his hip bones, his spine, and he had like really, really bad puppy-urea for like a month. And yeah, he was just really sickly. But I took him to the vet yesterday and he gained 15 pounds. So he's doing really, really well. Sorry, let me get you back on the doodad. Anyway. If you want some free pitch, but wait, candle holder for scrap. Huh. Do you know how old he is? The vet said that they think he's about a year old. And I think that's probably right because he definitely is a puppy. He acts like a puppy, aka he chews all my fucking shoes. He likes to chew shoes. And let's see, what else has he chewed? He's chewed shoes, hats, my son's backpack, the tinsel off the Christmas tree. Yeah, he's definitely still a puppy, but he has great remorse. He feels incredibly guilty when he does that stuff, but he's a very sweet dog. Tip for Thermolock, if you have a piece of jewelry that has like a back cutout, like you can see that hole where to like let the light in, don't forget to take something to push down that little bubble, because when you push your jewelry into it, the Thermolock tries to come up through that hole. Push it down before it gets cool and hard. That way, if you forget to do that, when you go to put your stone in, it's gonna like run into that little bubble of Thermolock. So just a little tip, something I learned the very first time. I was like, why isn't this stone going in? And it was because there was a bubble of Thermolock. Another thing that I learned with Thermolock is that, like, I think the first time I used it, I kind of let it wrap around my piece, like almost over the top, and it does not need to cover your piece that much. You're gonna make it so much harder to get it out, you know, when you're done. It really just needs to like hug it from the side. And then I put it a little bit over the top up here by the bail, but it really doesn't need to go over your piece. It just needs to hug the sides. Yeah, make life easier when it goes to take it out. Okay. Got wax all over my gemstone. Is that cat still stalking the new puppy? Yeah, he is. He stalks her every day, but I figured something out and I think she likes it. Because sometimes she will come looking for him and she will meow, like looking for him, and she will stay in his like sight line, and then when he runs after her, she turns around and bolts and is like hissing and stuff and slapping. But I think she likes it. I think she's saying like, come get me, you know. So yeah, I think they're like secret friends. Can you link that tool you just showed, the one that you use to help when cutting a mold, or tell me the name of it again? Thing to help when cutting, like a benchtop vise. You're talking about this vise right here, and this little hooky thing. This hook, I think this came with my Encore. What was this for? I don't even know what this is for. I think it came with my Encore vise, and I just had it laying around. I never really knew what it was for. I'm trying to think now, what is this for? I don't know, it was laying around, and so I just was like, hey, this will work. So really just find anything curved. Like I said, a lot of people will use a fork and they'll bend the fork down, and that way you can like use it to hold your mold open. But it's just a benchtop vise. And the benchtop part means it like it vices to your benchtop, so you don't have to bolt it down. I hope that's what you're asking. If that's not what you're asking, then just let me know. Does the Thermolock leave a residue? No, it does not. How do I move comments out of the way? It's right where you are working, so I can't see. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how to move comments. Like being you. Is that better? Maybe that's better for you. Let's move you back and down. I'll let you get closer as soon as I get the stone secure. Let's see. Super curious of how people wiggle out a stone from wax rather than cast in place. I've only ever done the latter. Haven't nailed getting just enough wax, but not too much so that you can pop it out. So what's the secret to popping it out? Well, first off, you don't want there to be, whenever you are about to cast your work, before you cast your work, you want to make sure that your stone can go in as easily as possible. Like you want to be able to just like set it in there. You don't want it to have to be a fight. So if you're finding that you're struggling to pop your stone out, then you probably have too much wax over your stone and you just don't know it. So maybe try and get some visors to get closer and just take your knife and carve away from the outside of the opening. If you have prongs, with prongs, I think one thing that people do when, like a mistake that they make when they're trying to pop their piece out, is they're pushing from the center of the stone. If you're pushing from the center of your stone, you're putting equal pressure on every single prong. If you push from the back or the tip, then you're only putting pressure on one, and it's more likely to be able to like wiggle out, if that makes sense, and you won't break a prong. It's okay if prongs break sometimes, because you can just go back in with like a Max Wax pen or something super tiny and attach it back, or you can even put it back in, rebuild your prong a little bit thicker, and then pop it out again. But I think usually that's where people go wrong with the like pushing from the center of the stone and not pushing from one side or the other, because you don't want to put equal pressure on all prongs. But if you have like a bezel setting and you're not able to push your stone out, then you have too much wax still over your stone, and when you go to cast your piece, you're going to be having like spending a bunch of time to carve out excess metal. I kind of have that problem with this particular necklace because I don't know why, but stones with corners, I've found whenever I cast them, it is so much harder to get them in. I have to remove a bunch of metal. But I think it's just because of the corners of the stone. They're just catching. So I know that with this one, but like with this ring, if you were here when I set this one, I was able just to set the stone in. So that's the ideal situation, is you should be able to just drop it right in. Therefore, you should be able to just pop it right out. I hope that makes sense. Is the bench lock on Amazon? I might have it on my storefront. If I don't, I'll add it, but they do have bench top vices on Amazon. Yes, they do. I've mentioned this one on a couple of your videos, but a panna vise is a great option if you don't have a ball vise. Oh, okay. I've never heard of a pan of ice. I'll have to look at that, but that's cool. Thank you. Pan of ice. You initially moved it better, then went the wrong direction. I'm sorry, Susanna. I'll get you back in 1 second. Found it. Thank you again. Um, okay, let's see. Let me move you just closer in general. Sorry, I have you on a gooseneck and it's really strong. Is that better, Susanna? Can you see without words popping up? I just have to be careful of the direction I tilt you in because I don't want to give you like a down the shirt shot, if you know what I mean. So I gotta kind of bring you in at like an angle. I also need to be able to see what you are saying, so I think, let me just, that might be okay. Okay, good deal. All right, so I already know we need to remove some metal from this because I tried to put the stone in, and in true fashion with this necklace, there needs to be more metal removed, and that's all right. One thing about setting like baguette shaped stones is you have to remember to carve out a spot for the corners. So I first like to just go in with a ball vise, and I do that in wax first so you can see like the corners. Oh geez, I'm sorry. That was like the twisty top. You can see in like the corners there's like, I used a little ball bird to get out some of that metal so the corners could have a place to sit. But if you don't do that, when you go to push down your metal, your corners of your stone are gonna crack. Let's see. Okay. Let me just make sure where I need to take stuff away. So a little from the sides and a lot from like back here. So I'm gonna go in. This thing falls off a lot, like if you and it can be like kind of a jump scare, like you guys just heard it crash down. So you just take it off. Oh Lord, that looked like a ball burr, but it's so tiny, it's not. There we go. It's like, why is this not taking away metal? Look at how tiny this is. Where did it go? Like from far away, it looked like a ball burr, but it's not. It's a cupping burr. I'm a dummy. All right. There we go. So am I right in thinking here, when you cast a stone in place, you put the stone in the wax, master sculpt, make a tree, pour the investment, and burn out the wax? Yes. If you're using the right stones, like for this one, that's what I did with this. I have moissanite and sapphire. Those stones can handle the heat. So I put the stones in my wax. I made sure I had enough wax to cover the stone so it doesn't fall out whenever the wax melts away. And then whenever I take it out and I pour the metal, it surrounds it everywhere that the wax was. That's why it's important to put a little bit of wax around, make sure it's covered, you know. If you don't put enough wax around the top of your stone to hold it in, it will fall out and it will either end up at the bottom of your kiln or it will end up like inside your ring, like somewhere in the body of the ring, like the cavity. So yeah. What do you think of the 3D printed jewelry? Should I pursue it? If it interests you, pursue it. I think it's great. I think it's, some people like to pick it apart and say that, you know, you're not doing the work and but I mean, you can't make anyone happy these days. I think there's tons of creativity to be found in 3D printing. I think that it's a skill that not everyone can master. I think that if it's something that interests you and you have like the technical skills to learn it, absolutely do it. I think it's a really great way to scale your business if it becomes something that you enjoy. I mean, You don't have to do any wax injecting. You don't have to do any carving. You literally just hit print and it prints out your design. I mean, how cool is that? And with like the utmost precision. So yeah, I think it's very cool. If you have the ability, go for it, and don't let people pick apart your work just because you're printing it. What holds a stone in the mold when the wax is gone? Just the investment? Yes. So it's hard to even picture it, to even imagine how it works, but yeah, it's the investment that holds it in. I wish I could like find the words to explain how it happens, but yeah, like, cause I'm thinking, okay, so the thing that holds it in, so if you think of all of this as like a negative cavity, you still have investment up here holding this in, holding this in, and holding this in. And even though all of this is open, you still have the pressure of the investment up against the face of the stone and up against like the inside of where these little holes are. So with the very tiniest amount of investment, yes, that contact is holding the stone in place. I hope that makes sense. I've had many a sunken stones. Yeah, if you have a sunken stone, it's because you didn't put enough wax. I've done it too. That's what happened with this one right here. This necklace, I didn't put enough wax around that top one. There's supposed to be a stone in there. And you know where I found it? I found it right here in this corner of the necklace. So it really is like a learning process. Because, you know, to some degree, you want to show as much of the face. And so you're hoping that you put enough wax. And then sometimes you just don't. The most ideal situation is when they just fall out in the kiln. And then you can just flush set it. And I did that with one of these because one of these fell out in the kiln, one of these little ones, and I just drilled a hole and flush set the stone. So yeah, that's the most ideal situation. It is not ideal when you have a sunken stone in your ring because you can't do anything with it after that. So just the investment touching the surface of the stone holds it in place. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. I'm actually a 3D designer, so basically people saying it's not real jewelry don't make sense to me because I design all my jewelry on the program. No, it is absolutely real jewelry, and I think the people that say that it's not real jewelry are either jealous because they can't work the software themselves, or they're jealous because yours is less like hand labor intensive. Instead, you're using like your brain skills and your technical skills. Like there's still skill involved. And at the end of the day, you're making a beautiful, intricate piece of jewelry. Like people aren't going to, at the end of the day, if your 3D printed piece of jewelry is more beautiful than mine, or it resonates with someone more than mine, they're going to choose yours over mine. And there are always going to be people that buy my jewelry. There's always going to be people that buy your jewelry. So this, and I've seen it with my own eyes, people having this conversation. If you're like, why do you care? If you're not 3D printing jewelry, or if you're not wax carving jewelry, why do you care to have the conversation? Keep doing what you're doing, focus on yourself and what you like to create, and leave other people alone. Let them be creative in their own way. Not just anyone can jump into some CAD system and create some gorgeous piece of jewelry. So people can suck it. I'm sorry, that makes me mad. I don't like it. You're welcome, Matt. I would never let them choose my jewelry over yours. Never. You're so sweet. I think I've seen tons of really cool 3D printed jewelry. So yeah, I don't like when people try and belittle other people's work because they don't understand it, you know? CAD, just another tool. I designed my props and models with Autodesk Fusion. Some people just like to gatekeep. Yeah, I don't know any of the softwares. All I know is of like CAD software, but yeah, I mean all of it. Same, you know. That's like it's like people saying like, "Oh, you're not an artist because you don't paint. You sculpt." Or like, you know, it's like potato. People are being creative. Let them be creative in their own way. Quit trying to pick people apart. Go live your life. Have a little Debbie. Have a cosmic brownie. Go watch some TV. Touch grass. Calm down, you know. Let people live. Gosh, I'm like, got Thermolock here, I've got this stuff here, and they look the same, and I'm like, I just need my sticky tack. Yeah, it might be time for a new burr. I think this one's kind of rubbed down a lot. Let's see if I got the same size. Yeah, let's try this one. You always want to just take away like a little bit at a time. It's tedious to just go back and forth, but the last thing that you want is to remove too much metal, and then you have like a super rattly stone because your setting is too big. So just be patient and always just take away a little bit at a time. Just take away, test it, take away, test it. Do you always hand polish, or do you use tumbler for initial cleanup and then set stones? I always hand polish. The only time I really use my tumbler is when I need to work hard in something, or when I have like a bunch of jewelry to polish. Like if I have a bulk of jewelry to polish, then I'll use my tumbler. But really lately I've only been using it for work hardening. Yeah, I've gotten in the habit of casting, cleaning it up, polishing up the inside, like working on the inside of the stone, and then polishing afterward. I don't know why that's my process, but I just like to do it all in that order. Some people like to polish up their entire piece all nicely, but I know that I'm gonna end up you know, adding back my texture after hammering the setting and using diamond burrs to clean up the setting. And so I'm gonna have to go in and sand it all again anyway, so might as well just do it all at the end. Thank you! Tom built it for me. It was free 99. I was just we were watching TV and eating dinner, and I was looking at the GRS plates, and I just showed it to him, and I was like, "Can you make this?" And it was like maybe 9 o'clock at night, and he was like, "Of course I can," and then just got up and made it. He's a really, really nice guy. He likes making stuff. Any excuse for him to pull out the welding machine, he's gonna do it. Yeah, Matt, that's exactly true. Tom, yeah, Tom definitely saves the day. That one. It's time to swap out all of my burrs. They're all running low. Let's see what I got in here. I think that one I'll do. All right, this is a new one, so there's no excuses. It's always a win when your partner is also an enthusiastic maker. Yeah, that's very true. And it's funny because we help each other out all the time. Like, he welded this up for me, and yesterday he's installing a winch on his car, and he cut out like a metal plate for with a hole in the middle for the rope to come out. And because he had cut it with a grinding wheel, or like not a grinding wheel, but a cutting disc, it made it super rough. And he didn't have any tools like that were small enough to go in that rectangular shape and smoothen out the metal, because if you left it rough, then it would fray the rope. And so he came in and he was like, "Hey, can you like use your tiny tools and make this smooth?" So I had this big steel plate in here last night, and I was sanding it up. And so yeah, we help each other with our work all the time, and it works out really well. Oh, we're so close. We've got the left corner, the top right corner, sorry. Let me put on my visors. So this corner is almost down. And this corner is almost down. I can see it's catching on this little piece right here. So instead of forcing it, because that's a no-no, we don't want to break anything, let's just take away a little bit of that metal. Just a little bit from the opening. And that way we can, oh shit. There we go. So close. Okay, I think we should take a little bit more from that side. Maybe even a little bit more from the bottom. There's like just a slight catch. I love that. Always nice to help each other on projects. It's fun. Yeah. But not only a jewelry tool, but also sounds your cat makes. Yeah, yeah. I think this is gonna work. You know you're close whenever the stone is almost getting stuck, like when you almost can't get it out. Let's see. Hi. Go a little bit more away from that side. Holy moly, we almost been here for 2 hours. I'm having fun though. Haha, did you hear it? Did you hear it click? That's ideal. You don't always get the click, but sometimes you do, and it's really nice. Yay! Oh, it's so nice when it clicks because you know it's going to be a really easy setting. Like, you're not going to have to do much hammering. Let's see if I can zoom y'all in. Would you recommend a stone setting course or just lots of trial and error? Okay, whatever you can do. If you have a class near you and it's affordable or like within your range and you really, really want to learn, take the class. It'll always expedite your learning and, you know, make you better, faster, all of that stuff. If it's not in your budget, if you don't have anyone nearby, like don't wait, don't hold yourself back. Do it all on your own. I did it all on my own, and that's just where I was in life at the moment. So you don't need a class, but if you're able to, I always recommend taking a course just because it can really expedite your learning. I will say though, find a course that like you know that someone has taken. That way you know that it's worth your time, that like they learn something from it, because I don't think every course is made equally. So yeah, whatever is in your budget and time and proximity, then do that. But you don't have to in order to learn. Sometimes you gotta give it the beans on like these higher parts. So with this smaller stone, I'm gonna change my tip now that I got most of it pushed down. You can, if you have a hammer hand piece or if you're wanting to get one, they're gonna send you some blanks. So this was a blank before I like made it my own. It had a flat, like squared off tip. And you just take a grinding wheel and you can reshape the tip to whatever shape you need. So I made this one so that I could get closer to smaller stones. Because this other one, look at how like fat and round it is. That is more likely to hit my stone as I get closer if you need to get closer. So you can just change your tip out. Just make sure if you're creating your own tips that you also are polishing them, like sanding and polishing it just like you would a piece of jewelry. That way it doesn't scratch your metal, like leave really deep scratches. So just a little tip. You can use a grinding wheel to reshape the ends of these, or some people, like someone recommended recently, using like an emery board. And if you don't want to buy a grinding wheel, because these can be kind of expensive. I think this grinding wheel for my flex shaft was like something stupid, like $45, but I'll never really need to buy another one again. So let's see, can you get gravers that fit the hammer handle? Surely it's a similar beast. Yes. So Matt, this is, I have a video on this if you want to look up more about it, but it's the Lion Punch Forge. And you just unscrew this tip and instead screw this in. You can see it's got like a little, like a screw part, and it screws into here. And then it opens this up and then you slide your graver in. And yeah, it pushes your graver, which is really, really nice. I use this anytime I'm grain setting or grain setting or bead setting or star setting. I use this just because it's an affordable option to instead of having like a GRS graver. It's obviously not anywhere near what a GRS graver is, but for little stuff like that, it's really, really good. I have a whole video on this. And I definitely think it's worth it. I think it's maybe $35. It's not expensive at all. It's really nice. Is that an emerald? Yeah, this is a lab emerald. This is the Pepe Tools ball vise. It's really, really nice, and I think it's about half the price of the GRS one. I don't know if a GRS one's better because I've never used one, but it's really, really nice. I think it's like 300 bucks maybe, which is expensive, but very, very nice. I don't know what the size is. I don't know what the size is, but if you go on Pepe Tools' website, it'll give you all the specs for it. Yeah. So I'm going to use this just to get a little bit closer. see. Oh, lab grown. I find lab grown tricky to source in the UK unless someone knows a good option. I don't know of any good options in the UK. I get my lab gems from Rio Grande. I'm feeling stingy. I'm using tools groups keep snagging it up. Yeah, there's definitely good. I got my jeweler's bench on Facebook Marketplace unused at the double superior goldsmith bench for like $500 off. So yeah, just keep a good lookout on the Facebook pages. Whew, okay, my eyes are burning. So this one still needs to be sanded at the bottom and clean this up and retexture the face of the necklace. But that one's done. I just need to clean it all up and sand it. Oh, my eyes are so red. Looks like I've been crying. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. I will pull this out and, well, I guess the other ring I can finish up. I have to make it to the post office before they close at 4:30. I've got some orders to take down there and some casting orders to pick up. I've been casting for other people since October now. I think it was the beginning of October, and it's going really, really well. So I've got 2 people to cast for before the holidays are over, so I gotta go grab their stuff. And then I'll probably be working like later into the night as well and all weekend. So I'll finish this up, but I'm almost done with all of my Christmas orders, which is really exciting. I'll be so excited to not see any numbers on on, my Shopify thing, but also it'll give me more time to post here on YouTube. I haven't been posting as frequently because I've been really busy with like Christmas stuff and trying to keep up and trying to market, and I'm not the best marketer. Um, but I've kind of put YouTube more on a back burner just so I could get through orders. But I'm hoping I can finish everything like by Monday, and that way next week I can finish editing some videos and film some new videos for you guys so that I can share them while I'm like on the holiday break, so I don't leave you guys, because I want to keep posting and I want to post more. I haven't been as good about it as I wanted to be, and I have tons of ideas for videos. It just takes so long to edit them. It's hard to work it into my work day when I know I should be making orders. It's been kind of a juggle, but I'm having fun with it. So, um, keep my weekly motivation. My shop is freezing cold. Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you have like a little fireplace or like anything to blow some heat? If you're in the US, Harbor Freight, my husband in his shop, he doesn't have any heat and it's really cold out there. And he got this fan from Harbor Freight. I think it was like $35, but it looks like a desktop fan that oscillates. And it's about like this big around. It's pretty big. And it turns cherry red and it blows the heat out and it works so well. And it's so cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. But if you're in the US, then maybe that would be something good to have like next to you, blowing heat on you. Um, I'll have to look into the microscope. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy the live streams. I'm so glad that this one went so well. I don't know if y'all seen some of the ones in the past, but I've kind of been avoiding live streams on YouTube because I've had some weird folks jumping in and posting some weird stuff. So they just haven't been as enjoyable because I end up more like moderating than enjoying interacting with you guys. And this one's been so normal, like knock on wood. I've had so much fun today. So I'll probably do some more lives like later this week and over the weekend while I'm working, just to talk and hang out with you guys. But I really appreciate you sticking around for so long, especially you, Matt. You've been here for a long time, and Dylan. But I hope y'all have a good weekend. And I'm gonna go to the post office, and I gotta pee really bad. I drank all my coffee, and I've been holding it this whole time and just shaking my foot because I can't take you to the bathroom. So have a good rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with me. Yeah, some unique people is a really good way to put it. But I'll see you guys later. I'll probably see you over the weekend. And I hope you have a good night. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Bye, guys.